Okay, so let's assume that we have an enzymatic reaction going on inside a test tube where the total enzyme concentration is denoted as ET and substrate concentration is denoted inside the square bracket, which is so here the concentration means the molar concentration, and concentration of E is the concentration of free enzyme. It means the enzyme is not yet bound to the substrate, and from this the assumption that the total enzyme concentration is equal to the concentration of enzyme substrate complex plus the concentration of free enzyme. So enzyme substrate complex has the same concentration as the bound enzyme. So what should we interpret from this substrate and velocity curve of an enzymatic reaction? When we go on increasing the substrate, the rate of the reaction saturates. So if we plot the velocity versus substrate, we'll get a curve like this. So this shape is called hyperbolic shape. So this shape comes when something is reaching the saturation. So in simple language, the velocity is dependent on substrate. When substrate concentration increases, the velocity of reaction, I mean the initial velocity, increases. So suppose the substrate concentration is 1 millimolar here, 5 millimolar here, and 15 millimolar here. So here we have diagrammatically shown what will be the fate of this ES complex. So if we add 1 millimolar substrate to certain concentration of enzyme at the beginning, suppose 5% of the enzyme is bound to the substrate. So the speed of this reaction will be determined by the enzyme substrate complex. So as the enzyme substrate complex remains low here, it is the speed is dependent on enzyme substrate complex. As the substrate concentration increases, suppose it is 5 millimolar here, more of this enzyme substrate complex are formed, and when there is 15 millimolar substrate, I mean the substrate is much higher than the enzyme. Almost all enzymes are bound to the substrate. So enzyme substrate complex has reached a maximum concentration. So if we increase the substrate concentration more than this, the enzyme substrate complex is not going to increase further. Hence, the speed is not going to increase. So we will not get the same speed of enzymatic reaction if we add 1 millimolar substrate, 5 millimolar substrate, and 15 millimolar substrate. So definitely the starting velocity of the reaction will be higher when the enzyme concentration, I mean the substrate concentration is much higher. I mean it is closer to the saturation concentration. So now we'll see what is the relationship between the substrate concentration and the enzyme substrate complex and the speed of the reaction.